Tensions over immigration enforcement are rising. Today, two New York Congress members trying to inspect a migrant detention facility were turned away. And in Los Angeles, a third day of ICE protests turned violent. These are live pictures from L.A. right now. Protesters today set cars on fire as they clashed with National Guard troops and police. We have team coverage tonight. Guajardo has more on the latest here in New York. But we begin with Naveen Dhaliwal and the developing story in L.A. tonight. Naveen.
Yeah, Jess, the tensions in Los Angeles are raging as police fired tear gas and rubber bullets as protesters gathered in downtown. Officials say there were simultaneous demonstrations underway, one at the federal building where migrants were believed to be detained, and a second one at City Hall. Video shows multiple self-driving cars were vandalized and set on fire as protesters clashed with police. They chanted "shame" and "go home" at members of the National Guard who stood shoulder to shoulder carrying long guns and riot shields, at one point even shooting smoke-filled canisters into the street. Minutes later, police fired rounds of crowd control munitions to disperse protesters who blocked traffic on the 101 freeway. The tensions began on Friday over President Trump's immigration enforcement policy. Now, California Governor Gavin Newsom says presence of the National Guard was inflaming tensions, and the Los Angeles mayor says she pleaded with the federal government to not deploy it.
I was hoping to prevent this situation from happening. I was trying to encourage the administration that if they deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles, it would create a sense of chaos. It's the last thing our city needs. Our city is still trying to recover from the wildfires. To go from that situation to where we are now is just really tragic, and I think it's so unfortunate. It's the last thing Los Angeles needs.
Now, President Trump said the National Guard was necessary because the California governor and Democrats failed to stop protests targeting immigration agents. Now, this is the first time in decades the state's National Guard was activated without a request from the governor. Jess?
All right. Thanks, Naveen. New York Democratic lawmakers today demanding access to an ICE facility at a federal building in Lower Manhattan. Guajardo reports their calls for transparency come as advocates say ICE agents have ramped up immigration enforcement here in our area.
Let's go, let's go.
What we are seeing is that high school students, college students, fathers, mothers, children coming in and following the process that they are told to follow, if it's a check-in or a court hearing, and being snatched and disappeared.
On Sunday, immigration advocates and New York Democratic representatives gathered to denounce recent ICE arrests. A spokesperson for the New York Immigration Coalition says federal agents have arrested dozens of migrants a day at immigration appointments in the city. Community advocates capturing the moments outside of courtrooms in Lower Manhattan.
I've watched people be pushed into freight elevators, shoved against walls.
Rachel Levinson, an attorney with Make the Roads New York, represents migrants at Federal Plaza. She says agents in plain clothes and masks are detaining migrants, and then it's tough to track their whereabouts.
We turn around, they disappear, and then they're in Texas. They're in Louisiana. It's really hard to speak with people and help them assert their rights.
A spokesperson for Assemblymember Claire Valdez confirmed on Sunday that an 11th grader from Grover Cleveland High School in Queens, detained last week after an immigration hearing, is now in Texas. Advocates believe hundreds of migrants have been detained on the 10th floor of Federal Plaza in inhumane conditions. New York representatives Adriano Espaillat and Nydia Velasquez attempted to tour the facility, but say they were denied access.
We deserve to know what's going on in the 10th floor. People are coming out of this building, and we're not seeing them coming out.
We reached out to ICE, and they tell us they are actively investigating immigration crimes throughout the 5 boroughs, Long Island and Lower Hudson Valley. In Lower Manhattan, Guajardo, CBS News, New York.
And we will have continuing coverage of President Trump's immigration enforcement and the ongoing protests. You can look for updates on air and online at cbsnewyork.com.